some peace today, but the future seems so far away. There's a revolution ahead. Let's try to really understand. And the truth of our action is to feel our elevation. Join up as a revolution band. 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 We are 27 years away from the planet blowing us away. If you really don't want to stay, then you'll float off in the Milky Way. That's a revolution plan. It's trying to really understand. And the truth of our mission is to feel under the vision. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. Come join up as a revolution band. Well, the status quo just can't stay. It's gotta go, get the hell away. Well, I tried to get me some peace today, but the future seems so far away. There's a revolution ahead. Let's try to really understand. And the truth of our action is to feel our elevation. Join up as a revolution band. 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 We are 27 years away from the planet blowing us away. If you really don't want to stay, then you'll float off in the Milky Way. That's a revolution plan. It's trying to really understand. And the truth of our mission is to feel under the vision. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. Come join up as a revolution band. Well, the status quo just can't stay. It's gotta go, get the hell away. Well, I tried to get me some peace today, but the future seems so far away. There's a revolution ahead. Let's try to really understand. And the truth of our action is to feel our elevation. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. just can't stay. It's gotta go, get the hell away. Well, I tried to get me some peace today, but the future seems so far away. There's a revolution, let's try to really understand. And the truth of our nation is to feel our elevation. Join up as a revolution band. 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 We are 27 years away from the planet blowing us away. If you really don't want to stay, then you'll float off in the Milky Way. That's a revolution plan. It's trying to really understand. And the truth of our issues is to feel under the vision. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. Come join up as a revolution band. Well, the status quo just can't stay. It's gotta go, get the hell away. Well, I tried to get me some peace today, but the future seems so far away. There's a revolution, let's try to really understand. And the truth of our nation is to feel our elevation. Join up as a revolution band. 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 We are 27 years away from the planet blowing us away. If you really don't want to stay, then you'll float off in the Milky Way. That's a revolution plan. It's trying to really understand. And the truth of our issues is to feel under the vision. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. Come join up as a revolution band. Well, the status quo just can't stay. It's gotta go, get the hell away. Well, I tried to get me some peace today, but the future seems so far away. There's a revolution, let's try to really understand. And the truth of our nation is to feel our elevation. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. Join up as a revolution band. some peace today, but the future seems so far away. There's a revolution ahead. Let's try to really.
That will distract you from the shittiness.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The bubble room or just the whole
Just
place?
the whole place. I mean, I haven't eaten there in over 15 years. But I mean, it's difficult to imagine, but like I was there before we had Thai food west of I-5. Yeah.
Well, we saw what you did while you were running around. Yeah, we saw what you did while you were running around. Acting like there's nothing wrong, you was shutting it down. 'Cause we saw what you did when you was running around. It's never funny when you're all out of money. And I'm poor, poor, poor all the time. Well, I ain't religious anymore. No, I ain't religious anymore. Maybe it's still in me 'cause I care about the poor, but I ain't religious anymore. It's not about money when you're all out of money. And I'm poor, poor, poor all the time. 'Cause the faster that we race, it's a race that's to the bottom. I thought I was finally safe, but I found that the core was rotten in this race to the bottom. And we go, it's a race to the bottom. It's a race to the bottom. It's a race to the bottom. Race to the bottom. It's a race to the bottom. It's not that funny when you're all out of money. And I'm poor, poor, poor. And I'm poor, poor, poor all the time. Well, the faster that we race, it's a race that's to the bottom. I thought I was finally safe, but found that the core was rotten in this race to the bottom. There we go. It's a race to the bottom. 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 It's never funny when you're all out of money. Poor, poor, poor all the time. What's so poor? What's so poor? And then poor, 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 poor to the bottom. It's not that funny when you're all out of money. And I'm poor, poor, poor all the time. 'Cause the faster that we race, it's a race that's to the bottom. I thought I was finally safe, but found that the core was rotten in this race to the bottom. Then we go, oh, oh, oh. It's a race to the bottom.
see a thing in this mask. Nurse, nurse.
Scalpel?
Thank you, hot glasses. I need another surgical tool. And another one. Wrangler, Wrangler, where are you? Give me some more of those instruments.
What is it?
Don't you know never to bother someone when he's operating? I need Larry. Larry Hearns. As soon as you can find him. Give me Larry Hearns.
Get your Major Hearns.
I'm here. Oh.
Larry. I need your expertise. We got another boy here.
Doesn't look good.
Well, he's got some bad molars there in the back, but did you used to do some dentistry? You don't have to slobber all over him, Larry. Jeez.
Maybe I can revive him.
This one back? I don't know.
Ringler, is that my skirt? You've been into my wardrobe again, haven't you?
Well, you know I'm a size 30.
Well, then you haven't been in my wardrobe. I'm a size 38. All right, Larry, let's dig in. We gotta save this boy.
Scalpel?
Thank you, hot glasses. You know, we could always meet in the loo in the back if you want. Ah. Well, I'll tell you. There's nothing we could do. He's gone. Just like that. You hear me, Radar? You killed him. I hope you feel good about that. You killed him. Yeah, you think about that. You think all about that, all you want. Because, you know, I just don't understand this war game anymore. It's like, it's not like the old days when we just do one war at a time. Like the Korean War. That's what I signed on for. Became the Vietnam War and the war against the Falkland Islands. That's when I lost all respect for it. The war against the Falklands. And, you know, it just makes me think, Larry. It makes me think about this.
The game of life is hard to play. I'm gonna lose it anyway. The losing card of some delay. So this is all I have to say. That suicide is painless. It brings on many changes. And I can take or leave it if I please. Through early morning fog I see vision of the things to be. The pains that are withheld with me. I realize that I can't sleep. That suicide is painless. It brings on many changes. And I can take or leave it if I please. The sword of time will pierce our skin. It doesn't hurt when it begins, but as it works its way on in, the pain grows stronger. Watch it burn. 'Cause suicide is painless. It brings on many changes. And I can take or leave it if I please. A brave man once requested me to answer questions that are key.
is it to be or not to be? And I reply, oh, why ask me? Yeah, cat suicide is painless. It brings on many changes, and I can take or leave it if I and you can do the same thing if you please. Yes, very special episode of the Peasant Revolution Band Variety Hour. The special guest, Dan DeBenedetti. Woo!
We are 27 years away from the planet blowing us away. If you really don't want to stay, then you'll float off in the Milky Way. That's the revolution man. It's trying to really understand. And the truth of our mission is to heal all of the visions. Join our peasant revolution band. Join our peasant revolution band. Join our peasant revolution band. Come join our peasant revolution band. Well, the status quo just can't stay. It's gotta go, get the hell away. Well, I tried to get me some peace today, but the future seems so far away. Peasant revolution man. Let's try to really understand. And the truth of our mission is to heal all of the nation. Join our peasant revolution man. 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 We are 27 years away from the planet blowing us away. If you really don't want to stay, then you'll float off in the Milky Way. That's the revolution man. It's trying to really understand. And the truth of our mission is to heal all of the visions. Join our peasant revolution band. Join our peasant revolution band. Join our peasant revolution band. Come join our peasant revolution band. Well, the status.
And, yes, well, we're back. We're back indeed. Indeed we are. And welcome to the Peasant Revolution Band Variety Hour. I'm your host, Jeff Dodge. We're out there streaming live on the old YouTubes. Now, if you were with us earlier or saw some of the early links, you might have to sit through some filler material, we call it. But we're somewhere in there is our live 9 o'clock broadcast with a little parody we did called Mush. I'm not sure what that acronym stands for exactly, but we came up with that in the heat of the moment, and we hope you enjoyed that dramatic little presentation there.
Right.
Rich,
Yes.
how are you? Musical director.
I'm
Rich
doing
Reese.
great. I'm great. I'm really glad that last musical number came together so well. I'm glad to be here over in the historic Alberta neighborhood.
Well, greetings from the Kenton, historic Kenton neighborhood.
That's right. That's right. You know, I think we might outnumber everybody else here tonight. We got 3 Kentonites here. And,
yeah, and then our special surprise guest is actually from St. John's.
all the way out there.
I am outnumbered.
You know,
and,
you get out on that end of Lombard, you get a little bit of a sea smell in the air. You can really smell the salt from the ocean being so close. You get out to St. John's. And,
Well, and I heard our producer might be leaving that area because of that smell. I'm not sure.
oh no, I think that's
but-
the rendering plant that we're
Oh,
getting over there,
Okay,
and
okay.
over there in what we like to call East Kenton.
East Kenton.
East Kenton, yes. So Denver is kind of a barrier. Those who live on the east side, those houses belong to management at the Swift Meat Company, and people on the other side, they were the workers. Although,
Okay.
yeah.
So there are still workers living in the city limits.
I think so. I'm not too sure about that. I maintain a job, but you know, I bought long enough ago. I'm actually not paying. Anyways, back to the real issues at hand
the real
here.
issues at hand is I wanted to not get too political here or anything because
Sure.
we don't like to talk about politics all that
Mhm.
much. But
Sure.
you know, the YouTube, our bread and butter. We really enjoyed working with YouTube, but we've been having trouble with. Well, first let's get some announcements out of the way. We got the Flight 64 Studio is doing their 8th annual Multiple Maniacs art festival show. It's a giant showcase of all of
Sure,
the art that goes
sure.
at Flight 64, the studio that we're all familiar with playing at. And unfortunately,
Oh.
we kind of skip.
Oh, are we
years.
not doing it this year?
Well, there was some political issues, I guess, with between Steve and I, and we've got it all
Oh.
worked out now.
Okay.
But it was kind of a little thing, and yeah, we just decided to take a breather.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't have to do when I accidentally assaulted that yuppie with a cymbal stand as we were hauling gear past the pizza shop a couple of years ago.
Wasn't that just outside my house, or I mean?
No, it was just like right over there, and
I'll do that as
and
soon as
then
I go to my car.
Steve said, "I think you actually hurt her," and I was like, "Okay, well let's get
Oh.
out of here then."
Oh, you were.
And
okay. A woman
anyways.
with your cymbal stand. Is
yeah,
that what
these
happened?
people, they were drinking wine and they were
Oh.
eating pizza, and you know, I'm not an actual sound guy.
Right.
I'm just a carny.
There's a technique.
And so I'm not so good with those things. And I think you thought because I knew Scott so well that I'd be pretty good with those carts. And I don't quite understand, you know, steering from the
Yes,
back the way you've got to
yes.
do that.
There's
and
a lot of years of patience and things falling off to get to a point where you know.
exactly. I
when it's
mean,
gonna fall off.
I'm bright enough. I'd probably carry like those heavy bass mic stands like this, you know,
Sure.
you know,
can
just
do
to
that.
knock
You
the
can do that.
shit out of my ankles. Anyway, so you and Steve called a truce.
Well, we called a truce and we said, well, can you do this next album at least? And we have another album in the works, but we're actually working on. My mother has an album that we're working on for her birthday. It's a
Okay.
happy birthday. Another announcement. Happy birthday to my beautiful sister Sarah out there in Hawaii. They just survived the crazy Hurricane Lane stuff.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. Everything turned out as far as I heard, and the kids are starting school. But no, I wanted to get back to YouTube, and they got this censorship stuff going on. And,
I didn't hear about
well,
that.
and we have a lot of Russian advertising, which I'm going to have to go to pretty soon here. But it's kind of put us in a bind because they got rid of an old friend of ours that we used to watch and interact with, Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks has been banned from the internet.
Oh, I didn't hear about. Isn't he dead?
Well, I thought he was dead, but he's. I was watching something I thought was Bill Hicks, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I thought.
Something on. It's gone. I can't
Oh,
show it to you because it's gone now.
well, I didn't hear about that.
But you know, first Bill Hicks, then Bill Cosby. You know, I mean, so it's
Oh.
like before you know it, all of these comedians of a certain age are going to be gone.
Right.
We don't have access.
And you
to
don't
them.
think it has anything to do with their own behavior that's driving the.
Come on, man! It's Hollywood.
Right. Okay. Yes, we're the naive ones.
Yes, I
And-
mean, in Hollywood are special people. They, they're more superior to the average human, and they have a lot of pressure on them. And so with the higher stakes come the higher games, and
Right.
and there's a lot of money, a lot of pressure, and so to relieve that pressure, you have to behave in sort of eccentric ways.
Hmm.
And so
That's that's why they call them background, right? The extras.
yes, because they're all out of it.
Yeah, they're expendable. So I'm told from.
Well, my understanding, it goes something along the likes of. Do you ever see that movie Eyes Wide Shut?
Oh, sure,
Eyes
sure.
Wide Shut. So the the Tom Cruise character is kind of like if, you know, like a Starbucks worker, like got invited to this cool party, and then everyone's, you know, hey, who's that guy? He doesn't belong here. What the hell?
But that he was secretly brought there because they desperately needed coffee.
That I didn't catch that part, but I could see that.
That's part of it.
Kubrick was over caffeinated all the time.
That is the darn diddly.
But boy, we're cooking through here. And speaking of our Russian advertising, let's take a break and see if we got anything to look at here. Thank you. We'll be right back after these special messages.
Все мужчины вас до сих пор обманывают. Когда вам говорят, что любят, вам лгут все мужчины мира. Всегда лгут. Я один вам говорю правду на всю планету. Все мужчины вас ненавидят, женщины. Ненавидят вас. Потому что вы мешаете развиваться мужчине. Когда он хочет вас, вас нету. Он вас покупает своим положением, деньгами, страхом вашим остаться одной, остаться с ребенком. Поэтому все мужчины мира, все преступления в мире совершаются из-за женщин. Все. Нет, несчастно. Какое счастье? Я же ее игнорирую, мне некогда ее заниматься, все ее привычки дурацкие. 30 лет в голове эта дурацкая фраза. Сапоги, шуба, сапоги, шуба. Все, что интересует. Сапоги, шуба, сапоги, шуба. Уже 100 пар сапог у нее и 20 шуб, и все одно и то же. Еще что-нибудь. Я ей говорю, открой Пушкина, сказка о рыбаке и рыбке. Сказка о рыбаке и рыбке. Вот ваша участь все женщины. Вам одно кольцо, еще одно, еще одно. На всех пальцах поставите. На ногах, на руках, все.
It starts with the gear. A well-seasoned pan and a hot flame and utensils. We'll put it in a pan and keep it sizzling, hot and delicious. One bite and you'll love it. See what renowned head chef Raul Armando Augusta Castile is cooking up. Check out our mouth-watering daily specials. We serve the finest transcontinental delicacies that are out of this world. Where are you gonna find the best meal in town? Chez Bristow. We're cooking for you.
Are back. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to have as our special surprise guest, Daniel De Benedetti. Yeah! We're gonna have some. I think it's gonna be alright. Yeah, alright. Alright. Daniel, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. Wow. I had no idea the audience was so big.
It's yeah, I think
Hey,
there's
everybody.
like 2 or 3 people watching right now.
That is amazing.
But where we really make it is in the residuals. We get a lot of we go into I forget what they call it, synchronicity.
Okay. Yeah.
Synchronicity with the episodes.
Shout out to the band, by the way.
Oh,
The
thanks.
Peasant Revolution Band, the best band on the block, and that says a
Thank
lot.
you. Thank you. Yeah, no, this is the Alberta neighborhood. There's a lot of
Right,
players
the
back
Alberta
here.
Arts area in a secret, undisclosed block. And, oh, Rich is getting a
I don't
phone
think we're
call.
broadcasting. Are
What?
we? Are we sure this is going out?
Oh,
I just clicked on the link and I'm getting the.
well, you might have to fast forward.
There might be a
through.
delay.
Oh.
Let's see. We can take a quick look at that. What do we got? Yeah, looks like we're there.
Oh,
I just
okay. Maybe
watched
I got the
myself.
wrong link.
I think there's a delay because we started early. See, in the
Oh.
television days they didn't have that problem,
Mm-hmm.
which is why we have Dan here
To
to talk about the television days. You know,
Well, I remember back when I was a kid.
but tell us, you grew up in Oregon, correct?
I did. I grew up, I was born actually in Portland, Oregon, and grew up on Ainsworth Street briefly.
All right.
Until I was about 3 years old. and then
Uh-huh.
we moved out. We did the farm living thing. We moved out to Newburgh, and I was raised on a nut farm. It's true.
Filberts or walnuts?
That's what we call them.
Filberts.
Yes.
Okay.
Most people know them as hazelnuts now, but they were filberts then. And then
Really, the filbert and the hazelnut is the same
they're the
thing.
same damn thing.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
So the
there's a whole
Californians
bucket.
came up here and changed filbert to hazelnut. Is that what I'm
It wasn't
saying?
really the Californians. It was like,
I think it was Vicatia, wasn't it?
Vicatia?
well, the nut growers realized that Italian hazelnuts sold for a lot of money,
Right.
and Oregon filberts weren't worth shit. So
they come in the green thing,
you
right?
know, right? I think they used to call them filberts because that was like the fill. That's what you put in between the nuts people know.
Yes.
And there are these other ones. What the hell are these? Filberts. Yeah. So, but no, now they're hazelnuts, and they go really well with Pinot Noir, which is also what Newburgh is famous for now.
Now, how does that feel to grow up in Newburgh and see the new Newburgh? We've grown up. I personally grew up in Old Portland, and now it's New Portland. So, how is Old Newburgh compared to New Newburgh?
I think it's a little bit like Rip Van Winkle. You know, you wake up one day and go, "What happened? Who are all these people?"
And it's only been like 2 weeks.
Right.
And you're
Yeah.
It's like, how long was I out for?
Right. Exactly.
I was working. Where did all these people come from?
No, it's interesting because the whole wine thing, they've made movies about it and whatnot now. But, that was a big deal because there were a couple crazy people in the Willamette Valley making wine, or so we thought. David Ladelsheim, David Lett,
Ken Follett, is that a winemaker?
Who's that guy?
Oh,
So I don't know. So anyway, these guys.
Ken Williams. I think.
These guys started out making wine in an area that was believed, if you took the data that, say, UC Davis's Department of Ethnology and Viticulture was using, they say, well, it's far too cold and wet there. It's just simply not possible.
Right.
But they were using data from the Portland airport because that's who was documenting
versus
the weather.
the valley where it's a lot
valley is a
warmer. You
completely
get a
different
good
microclimate.
absolutely.
And then the soil happens to be amazing as well. And so,
Even though there's an NWS flight service station at McMinnville, they were still taking the data from Portland.
well, you got to remember, this was a long time ago. We weren't as sophisticated as we are now.
Oh, okay.
We're very sophisticated now since Facebook and Twitter came
a
out.
supercomputer that can fly an airplane in your pocket if
Right.
you're an average person.
It's hard to believe
I should
that
straighten up
we
here.
got to the moon with that technology.
Right?
Yeah, but so the Filbert farms.
Yeah,
I'm going to use. I'm
Hey,
gonna
can I
start using
step
their
in here for a
native name,
second?
The Filbert.
We need to clarify something. Jeff does not actually believe that we went to the moon. So I think he was just kind of making small talk.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that we could get up there in an aluminum can, no problem. Very
Okay.
thin layers of aluminum to pass through the Van Allen radiation belts. I believe it. And if you don't believe me, you can buy our album available on Amazon and iTunes, The Moon Conspiracy Landing, the musical. So available right now. It's available out there, yeah. We got a couple music videos if you care to watch that.
Yep.
But on that note, I think it might be time to take a quick little commercial break and continue our conversation, special, intimate conversation with Daniel De Benedetti.
Komis is your market of choice for all Russians things. Here you find Moscow candle cages, golden clocks from our famous gold regions. We sell funny keychains and gemstones from the Siberian hinterlands, along with Black Sea shells. We have finest capers from Kiev, delicious Russian fish, and matryoshka dolls to make you smile. Komis has toys for children and handmade ships from St. Petersburg. We bring you back to the old country with memories of motherland. At Comics Russian Import Market, all are welcome. We put the Nick in Nikonak.
Yeah, Red's Garage. We fix. Broken hose. Smashed windshield. We fix. No problem. Be back Tuesday. Fix then. No job too small. We fix. Your car, our car, we take care. No problem. No problem. We fix. Broken headlight. Broken trunk. Carburetor. We fix. No problem. No problem. Ready Tuesday. Ready Tuesday. You come back. No problem. Red's Garage. 349 Volga Avenue. Yeah.
What we're talking about, Dan, is so YouTube has to, before they can sue us, they got to talk to our lawyer about all the Russian stuff, right? And we have the best lawyer. Oh, we're back, and we're so happy to be back here on YouTube. And I was just telling Dan about some of the legal issues we're dealing with the new format and everything. Is that phone ringing? Hello? Oh, it's our lawyer, Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, it's so good to hear from you. Yeah, we wanted to make sure that we still got you on our side with this new case we're dealing with.
Well, you've always got me on your side.
Michael, you have a cold or something? You don't sound like yourself.
What do you mean I don't sound like myself?
Oh my God, we got Michael Caine. It's not Michael Cohen. Michael Caine.
Yes, of course, this is Michael Caine.
How
can I help you?
Well, I was looking for our lawyer, but I did have some questions.
I'm here to talk to you about a special invention of mine known as heart broth.
Heart throb?
Heart broth.
Heart broth.
Yes, instead of bone broth, heart broth.
Heart broth. So Michael Caine's heart broth is going to be available on the market soon.
You're not coming in.
Hello?
Hello?
Your heart broth is not available? Or it is?
No, my heart broth will be available soon.
Michael Caine, we've got a guest in case you haven't noticed, and I'm gonna continue with that. I just wanted to ask you one question while we do have you. What was going through your head during that one scene in Blame It on Rio?
Daddy?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, cool, man. Well, it's good talking to you, Michael. We'll be right back with you. Maybe next episode you could get us our lawyer, Michael Cohen. And it's been great talking with you.
Talk about Death Trip.
And yes, Death Trip and Death Trap and all those things. There's a lot of movies. Maybe we can fly you out one of these days. We'll take care.
I would love it.
Okay, you take care, Michael. Great talking with you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Mike, the illustrious Michael Caine. You never know
amazing.
Who will call in to this show. But yeah, so Dan, after the Filberts, you got your career going with television. Is that correct?
Well, I sort of ran off and joined the circus. Yeah, I suppose so.
How did you get into the circus? Was it an actual circus?
I think it's all a circus, really. Isn't it all just one big circus?
You mean life in general, or any company has a circus quality to it, I suppose.
Wait, what kind of TV are we talking about here?
Well, it's different than all the modern technology we use on things like Streamcast, which are obviously far superior.
Right, this is amazing.
Right, this is pretty good.
Right. Living in the future.
Yeah.
Yes.
The first spot I was in was shot on 2-inch tape. They had to carry a van around that had, I'm not kidding, this was like 1979.
Just to carry the tape.
Yeah, just to carry, yeah, and then they had to run all these cables inside. Yeah, we take
Everything was so big.
8 hours to shoot a 30-second spot
Yeah.
for a tiny market.
Were you doing TV at U of O?
No, this is when I was like 3.
Oh, okay, that's right. You were a child actor. I forgot about that.
My dad sold broadcast for a long time when I was a kid,
wow.
so when people talk about TV, I always got to ask,
Yeah.
because it's a real name-dropping kind of biz.
Yeah, no, actually, my foray into television. I graduated from the University of Oregon back in the 80s with a degree in telecommunications and film.
Oh.
But that was kind of like...
Is that from the J School? Or
No,
well,
it's
no,
before it became the J
It
School.
was
I
its
can tell you
own
all
thing,
about
the
this.
TCF
Yes.
program,
Yes.
which is no longer
They
Oh,
were in the
okay.
arts building.
So now
and they,
I
they
have
killed
a
it with
degree
Measure 5.
in
Oh.
communications, yeah. But so when I graduated, one of the first things I did while I was looking for a job was I found a local cable access station.
Oh, sure. Down in
Newburgh.
Eugene?
In Newburgh.
Oh, in Newburgh.
In
Oh,
Newburgh,
okay.
yeah, because I was home for the summer detailing cars and trying to bust into the industry.
Sure.
And I wrote, produced, and directed a documentary film about the wine country, the Willamette
okay.
Valley and Yamhill County, the heart of the Oregon wine country, which won an award. But in the meantime, I took a job at Central Oregon Community College and started doing technical theater. I was teaching technical theater and was the kind of the resident designer.
That just sounds like a hell of a commute right there.
Yeah, no, I actually moved there. It was a real job. They paid money and stuff, so I could get a place to live.
You were broadcasting theater, live theater from there, or
No, we didn't do much of that. They used to have a broadcast program there, but before I got there, it had been decimated. So while I was there, I managed to produce a couple radio spots to promote some shows, but I wasn't doing a lot of broadcasting. I was going live, man. I was doing the live thing. Yeah, so that was great. So,
our
that's
favorite
excellent.
sportscaster Bill O'Reilly. He
Oh.
always did his sportscast live, I guess.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, he turned
when
out to be
when he worked at KATU.
I heard
was
about that.
The first six-figure sportscaster in Portland.
really, I did
Maybe
not
the
know that.
only.
Yeah,
That's
there was this big
amazing.
scandal. He apparently intentionally left his pay stub on the photocopier so that other people would see it and get all pissed off.
Well, that was sweet of him.
Yeah. It's a good guy.
I think
Yeah.
Gianola saw it. That's why.
And that's why he gained all that weight.
Oh, he got depressed. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell?
A lot of newscasters did at that
I
point.
can kind of see Jeff Gianola
and
kind of
radio
going like,
guys.
Oh, no, I
"You
remember.
guys are getting paid? We're not all interns? What the hell?"
Well, it's funny to think, back in I think in about 78, McCall was making about $52,000 a year at KATU. 'Cause
Right.
That was what he gave up
Right.
to run for governor.
Yeah.
And so just 6 years later, this piece of shit's making twice
Yes.
as much as Tom McCall. Of course.
Well, no, he's I guess he's evolved into streamcasting as well. I mean, everyone's doing it.
Well, him.
Because his services were no longer required.
I
at
was going to
Fox,
say,
I
he's kind of
guess.
doing it not totally by choice. I think he'd love to be back on cable. But,
Really? I think he's enjoying the streaming.
he
thing.
can
has a
loof.
bunch
He
of,
can loof all the fuck he wants, I guess.
I'm
if
sure
he's
he has a
doing
ton
that.
of interns working for him. You can tell by the makeup he wears during the streamcast. So
Surely.
I think it's his pets might be involved with the makeup, but pet goat or something. Alrighty, and so that brings us into the 90s.
Right?
And now let me get this straight. If I recall, you had some kind of the Northwest vibe going in the 90s, no? With that whole drugstore cowboy scene and all that. Did you ever meet or work with Gus Van Sant?
Just briefly. I've seen him on the street, but actually, when I moved back to Portland, it was kind of Gus was already famous. You know, he was already big. I didn't get to work on those early projects with him, which would have been really cool. But I moved back to Portland in 1992 because my job at the community college was eliminated.
Right.
Which is the short story, but that was that was a whole nother. There's a book in what happened in between there, but I moved back and decided I was what I really wanted to do was work in film, so I did. And I started by doing an internship at the Northwest Film Study Center.
Yes.
And
yes.
you know, shout out to Bill over there, who's still there. In
Hello,
charge of the
Bill.
whole thing. Thanks, Bill, for everything you did. And then so I was working there as an intern for the summer and taking some classes, and somehow stumbled into Pacific Grip and Lighting, and started doing grip work, just like prepping trucks in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And then so every time I went out on a run, I'd be, you'd be wandering by a production office.
Right.
So I'd stop in and go, "Hey, I'm Dan. What are you doing?"
Would you walk in on the set and have to deliver equipment on a set?
Yeah,
live set and that kind of thing,
which is really weird because you pull up in a van and someone's waving their arms.
Right.
Because they're rolling.
Silence.
They're rolling.
Yeah.
So you gotta wait. You gotta wait.
This is the symbol for rolling for anybody out there. If you're walking on a movie set,
It's also the symbol for woohoo, having a really good time.
It's also end of the day.
yeah.
I'm done rolling. Screw this. Yeah.
Right. What do they call
The martini shot.
Right.
Right?
That's the martini. Yeah.
Martini.
And the shot before the martini is the. There's a name
the
for it.
cupcake. I don't.
No,
I can't
there's a
remember.
name for it. And I forget what it is. But yeah, it's a martini. Yeah.
It's exciting working on a film set, though. There's a lot of
is.
energy.
That's right. Well, there's a lot of people standing around and apparently not doing anything.
Right.
Because everyone's waiting to do exactly what they do perfectly or get fired. And so you're there for that very moment when you need to run in, do your thing, and get the hell out of the way. Because it's a big dance around the camera. The camera needs to film, or now, just
It's changed now. It's
digital information.
They can go on forever on takes, can't they? Somewhat.
Much longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't cost them as much.
Well, yeah, and you can actually look at what you did right then and there and go, "Oh yeah, let's do that one again."
Well, now they're doing like the crazy. I guess all the movies that Hollywood's interested in now are all kind of the special effects, like comic book type movies, right? And those guys are just walking around in ping pong balls and green screens everywhere.
Well,
they can see the live stuff going on these monitors, or the director can't. Have you seen any of that technology yet?
No, I haven't seen the real-time effects.
They have some of that starting to happen, according to the old YouTubes, from what I've seen. But that could not be real, too.
The funny thing about the film and TV is, like, the movies that get made mostly are the ones that are cheap to make. Mm-hmm. We're not making any big Busby Berkeley spectaculars anymore,
Right.
It's usually cop movies are really great because you got two partners and then a bunch of extras.
Right.
Right. And what you need two actors and a car and a couple of guns. Hey, we're making a movie.
Right.
As opposed to these big choreographed dance numbers and underwater ballet and symphony orchestras and that costs money. That all costs money.
Yes.
So we just
now they just pay some pimply faced kid to spend 25 hours a day on his computer doing all this animation of hair and stuff instead of the big production that they could have got a bunch of people involved with.
Yeah.
Just dump it on the one kid.
Yeah. In a third world country where there are
on top of it, and they know nothing. There are no labor laws, and they know nothing about our culture, and they're trying to do this rom-com, and they got all this pressure and a deadline. Don't even speak the language, and they're trying to make these jokes work. It's terrible.
But if you pay them too much, then it's going to drive up the wages for all the competing industries in those countries, and it's probably going to cause a lot of those businesses to evacuate, and then those poor workers will have nothing. Certainly not the safety nets that we have here for workers in those cases.
Workers are very safe here.
Interesting point.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
There's trailer parks. There's a lot of communities that embrace the workers that don't get paid a lot. And then there's, if you don't get paid enough, just pick up another job. I mean, I have like 7 jobs. I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Well, I work at both the Astros and the Wendy's, and I'm going to clear like $40,000 this year. From
you picked up the Astro gig.
Yeah, I got the Astro and the Wendy's, so I get like 80 hours a week to myself, in addition to the 80 I put in at those places. Because
be careful, you get moved into another tax bracket, and then you'll be moving back.
Well, you know what happened to me a couple of years ago is I was getting all those George Soros checks from going to all those
Antifa
demonstrations.
days. Yeah,
I was getting paid so much by George Soros that I lost my Obamacare subsidy. I was making too much from Soros to qualify for Obamacare.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
That's
a tough
a
spot.
hard place to be in.
I was like, am I still going to be a liberal at the end of all this?
Right.
Well, those are just labels. I think.
It's true.
But I heard George paid in cash.
Oh no, that was historically, but no, at this point it was completely legitimate because
I thought it was just debit cards. It
oh
seems to be
no,
they all
I
just move
fully
into
got checks
traceable
and
debit
stuff.
cards.
Yeah, I wanted it to be legitimate. So I mean, I had all the withholdings and yeah, his 401k, his matching was excellent.
Well, I didn't see any of that money
until November of 16. Then some of the rules changed. And
I see. I see.
So, I'll let you guys get back to talking about film though.
Yeah, no. Well, I was just you brought up an interesting point about your days with Antifa because I was getting all these calls from they call them the Proud Boys or something like that. Met them, and they're an interesting bunch.
Yeah,
a lot of interesting ideas about not paying taxes and God doesn't pay taxes, so why should we? I guess. And that's what I gathered from it.
Except I'm pretty sure that Jesus said to give unto Caesar what is due Caesar and give unto God what is due God. And
well,
so I think that's why you're supposed to tithe on your net rather than your gross.
There's so many versions
except for the Mormons.
of Jesus out there.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
many versions of Jesus.
I don't even know what I'm talking about.
It's like pick the Jesus of your choice. Did you have a personal favorite Jesus, or were you of another deity that influenced you, perhaps no deity?
My own personal Jesus.
Yes. Do you have your own personal Jesus?
You guys know that song?
Oh, sure.
What?
Yeah.
You're talking about the Johnny Cash cover, right?
Well, Johnny Cash covered it, right?
Yeah.
But that's a Eurythmics song, isn't it?
No, it's Depeche Mode.
No. Really?
I thought I just invented the term right there, but I guess what did I know?
Personal Jesus. Yeah, we should.
We can do that. It's like a very stiff shuffle.
It's a good.
It's like a driving.
Well, we're gonna try something special here with Dan giving us a little Johnny. Let's see what we can do.
Oh, okay.
Seriously.
Wasn't it kind of like an E-ish thing?
All those covers.
Oh yeah, we used to play the shit out of that on KWVA down in Eugene back in the 90s. So.
Which one?
It was a college station, went on the air in '93.
Okay.
And it was actually Bob Packwood that got the frequency for them. And it was because U of O didn't have a college station.
Right.
They just had that classical station, and so a bunch of people I ended up knowing started this little radio station. Anyways, that Cash album was huge. 97 or so.
Yeah, about then. That was amazing. The Hurt was a big single off that one, of course. Trent Reznor's song. And then, I thought it's not the Eurythmics.
Pretty sure it's Depeche Mode, right? Is it 9 Inch?
I don't know.
You guys are all fucking with me, right?
Are made of this. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody is looking for something. Some of them want to appear. Some of them want to be abused.
Wow, that's amazing. You just never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen on this show. And I think that's a good excuse for our next block of commercials. We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Hey, it's Coach Larry, host of the weekday morning sports talk radio show. 6 hours, 6 a.m. to noon, every weekday, Monday through Friday, we're on talking sports. Nobody else in this town can guts. I'm getting the glory because I'm talking sports. I was trying to figure out, hey, if people are sitting around watching the Peasant Revolution Band Variety Hour, I'm sure some of those people are sports fans. They're gonna love the show because I can't overemphasize it enough. We talk sports, nothing else. Who else is talking about the basketball playoffs, the NFL draft, all of the sports right now? We talk about the sports teams that you love. In fact, you turn it on, you go, I can't believe they're talking about exactly what I want to hear about.
The Garden Ferret 3000 is the only tool you'll ever need for your garden. It knocks out weeds in seconds. You're left with a beneficial mulch for your garden. Maybe you just want to have a tool you can show off to your fellow gardeners. The best thing is the Garden Ferret 3000's easy cleanup feature. Just hose it off. It's available at these fine stores.
That kind of stuff. Okay. So
Yeah.
things for business.
Well,
And so okay.
the slideshow for well, we were trying to do a best of Antifa Proud Boy rally, and the slideshow was just too hectic to put together for that. So we said no slide. Oh, we're back. Welcome to the show. We're here with Dan DeBenedetti.
Hey.
Hi, your microphone is far from you.
God,
you
yeah.
should, yeah.
I was looking for a beer. I don't know what happened.
A beer. Well, we can take care of that. We'll make sure there's a beer
no
as soon
worries.
as we come back. And
Next
I'll
break,
I'll stall. I have this interesting question I was gonna ask you about when you did. I know you did some acting, and when you do acting, what kind of things motivate your choices for your roles?
Oh wow! So it's been a while since I've done any acting, but I did a couple of roles. Oh, thanks! Look at this. Wow, this is service with a smile. Back in the Bend days, in between doing set and lighting design and technical directing, and teaching technical theater classes, I took a couple of roles. I was talked into it by. I think there was a girl involved. Anyway.
Oh, to win the affections.
Yeah.
of somebody.
Well, you know, she said you need to be good
I
at
will
this.
do King Lear.
Yeah. I didn't do King Lear, but I had this great role in this Leslie Sands play, English tea room drama, if you will, right?
Okay.
And I had a great bit part. I was Will Purdy, the mechanic, in a show called Something to Hide.
Okay.
And so I practiced this sort of, Cockney accent, and I just had a couple of bit parts, but I was the comic relief. I rolled in and Miss Zoe, seems to be a problem with your car here, or whatever.
Right,
I don't know, I can't do it anymore. But the funny thing, this is a true story, and this is a trip. So we do the press preview night.
Mm-hmm.
We're opening in 3 days, and we do a press preview performance.
Yes.
And the Bend Bulletin is there, of course. And
very esteemed.
right.
I heard it was called Newt Bueller's Bend Bulletin. Is there any truth to that?
Their
nose is pretty far up his took us. Anyways, back to the story.
So anyway, the guy who played the lead, Inspector Davies, this guy was a Shakespearean actor that then went into radio, but he was well into his 70s. Turns out that, as you get older, sometimes the whole memory thing
Yes.
doesn't work quite as well.
Yes.
And it's press preview, and the dude doesn't know his lines. The director is furious. After the show, she's like,
well, what did he do in the moment? Did he improvise or?
He kind of crashed and burned. It
No.
was like really awkward.
It was like the silent and.
Yeah, and then
when
like
were you acting with him during that moment? Or?
Fortunately, I didn't have very many scenes with the inspector. Just one or two.
And was he doing a Cockney accent as well?
No, you know, proper English, right?
Okay.
You know, he's the inspector. You know,
yes.
He's from, right. So anyway, after the press preview performance, there's you know, the director comes out and she asks this guy, "When can we expect you to know your lines?"
Right.
He throws his script down and storms out. Says, "That's it. I'm done."
Oh, wow.
So it gets better, right? This big panic, like,
yes.
You know, what are we gonna do? Emergency board meeting because it's the community theater, right?
Was there an understudy? Or?
So there was not.
No understudy.
But Carol Bryant, the director of the theater there, grabs me by the arm in the middle of all this chaos, spins me in front of the board that's arriving to figure out what to do, and says, "Dan will do it. Dan will play the inspector."
Yes.
And so
and you're promoted.
I have 2 days. To get this part down.
Right.
And then somebody else takes my part. And the guy who took my part just butchered it. I nailed that part. But I was smart about playing the inspector, which was the lead role in the fucking play.
Yes.
I went from you know, nobody. So I had to get my haircut, shave, new costume.
Right.
And then, thank God I was an inspector because I made all these crib notes in my inspector's notebook. So as I'm taking
there
notes,
you go.
I'm
You were
checking
grabbing
to make
lines.
Sure I'm in the right place.
What a
all the
great
time,
character.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but then, like about the third night, I get really cocky. I think I got this down.
Right.
And I'm not paying attention to where I am in my little notebook.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, it's a 3-act tea room drama, and it's, you know, a detective story. So you're going over the same stuff over and over again. And I get mixed up somewhere between the second and third act, and I have no idea where the fuck I am. and so...
were you giving weird cues to other actors, and was it all crazy?
I found myself suddenly lost, and then fortunately I was playing opposite a very, very talented actress who was playing the part of Mrs. Holt, and she's kind of fed me some lines. She did a great job improvising. "Inspector, don't you mean to say," you know, and I'm like, "Oh, right." You know, and then we got back on track.
I did mean to say it, but not that way. And then you go into another tangent. Did you ever get any of that stuff going?
And I don't think that the audience ever caught on.
Right.
Like
as a sound guy, I can tell you, the audience doesn't catch on to a lot.
The sheer panic of like, especially the first night that I went out there because we didn't have time to do any blocking rehearsals or anything. So all of a sudden, I make an entrance in front of a live audience, and the first thing I do is I'm looking around on the stage to see where the other actors are.
Yes,
Like, yeah, it was fun. So anyway, that was one of my acting stories.
Oh. Well, that's great, Dan. And on that note, we got to pay some bills here. We'll be right back with our last little bit here. We're back. Steve, that Chinook is wonderful. I don't know how you do it, but you should all look that up. It's out there available for purchase, I believe. Steve's Chinook.
Okay.
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods with Dave's Killer Bread. Little Dave's Killer. Not as good since it went corporate, I have to admit. You know.
But didn't he kill another person or something?
I don't know if did he kill somebody or
I don't know. I heard all this.
He had a meth relapse.
Is that okay?
Well, you guys, he could have been a Hollywood guy. If he's in Hollywood, it'd be all right, because Hollywood stars have that superior ability to do things like that. It's okay. So, I don't know if he was ever a Hollywood star. He was really close, though. So we give a lot of slack for meth and killing people
I
and
think there's
all sorts of abuse.
made-for-TV movie
About Dave's Killer Bread.
Killer Dave. They're going to call it Killer Dave and the Bread.
Killer Dave and the Bread. So it'd be interesting if they, instead of his crazy life, they focused on like just the bread making part of it.
Right.
And what oats he used, and did he have like a Filbert special? It's like, you gotta call that chestnut. But I don't know. But I do know this, Dan. It has been great having you. Thanks so much for dropping by at the last minute. We're going to wrap things up. Our good friend, Lint Chocolate. Lint Chocolate has a friend out there. His friend's band is called the True Primitives, and they've got an album out. And I just wanted to push Lint Chocolate's friend's band, True Primitives. True Primitives. Out there, available on, I think on CD Baby, iTunes. Oh, Bandcamp. I think they're on Bandcamp. So, all sorts of things happening. And I usually like to conclude the evening, Dan, with a little story about the mayors of Portland and, who's like a legitimate one, who's not, who knows they're actually talking about.
Hey,
Jeff.
Oh. Hey, it's my lovely wife, and I don't know if you know this, but it was Hot Glasses. Hot Glasses was actually portrayed by Jamila here. Jamila, my lovely wife. How are you, honey?
I'm doing well.
Good. So the mayor is like telling me that we gotta stop believing in conspiracies.
Say goodnight, Jeff.
Good night, Jeff. This one goes out to the Queen. Looking out on the morning rain, I used to feel so uninspired. And when I knew I had to face another day, Lord, it made me feel so tired. And for the day I met you, life was so unkind. You're the key to my peace of mind. Oh, you make me feel. Oh, you make me feel. Oh, you make me feel like a natural woman. When my soul was lost and found, you came along. You came along to claim it. I didn't know just what's wrong with me. Till your kiss helped me your name here. Now I'm longer doubtful of what I'm living for. If I make you happy, I don't need much more, 'cause of you. You make me feel like a a natural woman. Oh, baby, what you done to me? You make me feel so good inside. And I just wanna be so close to you. You make me feel so alive. Make me feel. You make me feel. You make me feel like a natural woman. Make me feel. You make me feel. You make me feel like a natural woman. Yeah, Curtis. Woman. Feel like a natural woman. Thank you and good night.